Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and for the last 7 days, I've been driving the 2025 Genesis G80 Sport Prestige. Up front is a 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be making this video because I've spent the last 7 days driving the Genesis G80, driving it as my own vehicle. I've put plenty of miles on it, and so I'm here to share my thoughts. I've liked parts, I've disliked others, so let's get into it. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month, as well as there's exclusive audio content. But let's get back to that turbo V6 under the hood. Well, this is kind of the go-to option for a lot of Genesis products when they want that higher performance. Now, this does not have the supercharger that the GV80 got that we reviewed at the beginning of the year, but it still makes really good power. When you put it into sport mode, it definitely feels peppier and more in tune with the Sedan than it did in the SUV. I like this engine a lot better here in the G80 as opposed to the GV80. Like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission. It's an 8-speed, and it's fine. It does the job, and no complaints. Last but not least, it is all-wheel drive, and it has a trick system that we'll talk about here in a second. So how does it feel to drive the Genesis G80? Well, it's very luxurious. The ride is nice and smooth. You can hear in my voice talking right now, I'm doing 45 miles an hour, and although I am going over a bridge now and a Mustang just passed me, it's quiet. See, this is a nice smooth road doing 45 miles an hour. It's quiet, it's nice, it's relaxing. The sound deadening is good. Throttle response is fine enough. I wouldn't say that this is a fast car, but obviously the V6 turbo does wake up when it wants to. The weirdest thing about the driving experience is that the G80 has rear steering. So I'll try to show some clips here, but driving it on the road, it freaked me out for the first 2 days that I drove this car. It's an odd sensation. And I've driven cars with rear steering before, but this is really aggressive and really noticeable. What it honestly feels like, although I haven't driven one yet, have you ever seen those fire trucks in cities that have the rear driver as well, steering on their own steering axis? That's what it feels like to drive this G80. Although, okay, a little exaggerated, but still, it's very, very strange. Although it does offer an extremely nimble turning circle. I was able to do a U-turn on a regular street, which isn't always a given with bigger vehicles like this. So it really, really does help out. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a completely digital gauge cluster. I really like how it's laid out. It does bleed into the infotainment, which we'll talk about later on, but I like the look of it. I like the layout of it. I think it's special, and it's super easy to read, which is always important. On the steering wheel on the left, we do have our adaptive cruise as well as steering assist. And off to the right, we have our favorite voice command, skip track, volume, and phone options. The overall steering wheel is red. You'll notice that the entire interior, or most of the interior, is red. I am very torn on this. I think sometimes this red interior is beautiful, top-notch, and I love it. I think at other times it's a little bit too much. So what I've been able to equate it to is late night tacos. At nighttime, late night tacos seem like the best idea a human can make. It's so appealing, so sexy. But then, when the sun comes through the curtains in the morning, you pay for it. When the sun is directly hitting this interior, it's a little bit much. And what I mean by a little bit much is that it's a lot of bit much. However, at night, with the ambient lighting, oh, it looks good. It looks really, really good, and it looks way better than a black, gray, or white interior would look. I love it at night. I hate it in the morning. So that is why it has my late night taco feelings. But moving back to the interior features, off to the left we do have a climate control vent, gauge dimmer switch, traction control off our trunk, and power parking brake. And moving on to the door, we have our memory seats, our Bang & Olufsen sound system, power mirrors, power locks, power windows, and a rear power sunshade. Moving into the center, this is the continuation of our screen for the infotainment. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, ambient lighting adjustments, navigation. It has Genesis Pay, so if you pull up to a participating parking garage, it will automatically pay the fee with the connected credit card. We do have nice camera systems. We can also change our massage feature that we'll mention, and I like how it's integrated into the regular gauge cluster. I like that continuity, and I think it looks good. Down below, we have 2 climate control vents and our buttons for the navigation, map, seek, track, things like that, and our climate controls. Now, the climate controls are a screen, but they're their own dedicated screen, and they have not been laggy a single time that I've tried to use them, so they get the pass from me here today. We also have heated and ventilated seats. We have a heated steering wheel, so all the fixins. Moving into the center console, off to the left, we do have our selector for the screen if you don't want to touch it, and we have the shifter, which is also a rotary dial shifter. Now, normally I don't really care about rotary dial shifters. I think they're fine, but this is so close to the map and navigation that twice I have reached for the gear shifter and instead just selected Apple CarPlay. So it's a little close, a little bit poor design here, but honestly, I'm able to get used to it. And off to the right, we have cup holders. So we'll do a big friggin' bottle test, and unfortunately it fails, but we all saw that one coming. We then have buttons for the automatic start-stop on and off, drive mode select, camera button, and parking sensors. We have a wireless charger, and we have an opening center console. Now, the center console, like the GV80, is linked to the heated seats, so when you turn your heated seat on, it will also heat the center console armrest, so your elbow doesn't get cold during the winter. Nice little feature. Then we have the seats. The seats are heated, ventilated, power, memory, and massaging. Anything you want out of a modern seat. They work, and they are very comfortable. I just took this on a 2-hour trip, and interestingly enough, after an hour of driving, the car decided randomly to stretch my lumbar. So it started giving me a little lumbar massage, squeezing in and out after an hour of driving, and above 80 miles an hour, the bolsters stiffen up. So really cool features here in the Genesis G80 seat. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2025 Genesis G80 Sport Prestige, and right off the bat, you immediately notice that this does have pretty fair amount of space over the G70. This is where you're really going to notice that big difference. So really enjoy that. We do have obviously power windows. We have climate controls down here in the center, fan speed and temperature and where to send it. Not always a given here. And we can pop down this giant center console. This has our heated seat options in it and the rear sunshade option as well. That was my third take of doing that, if you couldn't tell. So very cool. We also do have pop-out cup holders and things like that, but very cool. This is a very regal, very businessy center console, and I like that. It also has 2 USB-Cs in there. Love to see that, but you can swap it up if you do want that third middle seat. Love to see all of that. Very nice features, and 5'11", not a small guy. I fit back here really nice. And I have buttons on the front passenger seat that I can move it all the way up. A lot of Japanese and Korean cars do that. For the VIP would sit over here. They move that seat all the way up, and then you're basically in first class. Really cool. Let's hop out into the trunk. We'll take a quick look back there, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the G80, we do have a push button right there, and it is a power-operated trunk. Really love to see that. Once we are back here, we do have my filming equipment and my newest acquisition, a Mini Z Suzuki Jimny. It's radio control, got it for $100, and been playing with that. So once we are back here, plenty of space. It is a big sedan for all of your filming and remote control car needs. Very cool to see. Then we can come up here, we can either lock it or put it down. It is the power operated trunk. Love to see that. Very, very cool. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I really like the look of the Genesis G80. I think it's dignified more than anything. I think it's special looking, although it is easy to mix up with the G70 and G90. They have very strong family characteristics, if that makes sense, but I like that the hazards carry on to the side markers, and just overall, it does have a very stealth wealth kind of appeal to the outside. Absolutely love these wheels. These wheels are bang on, and I love them, love them, love them. So really, really nice to see that. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think spending a week with the Genesis G80 Sport Prestige? Well, it's a lot of money. It's $80,000, but tax title fee, you're well into the $80,000 range. Does it feel like $80,000 worth in here? Yes, it does. It really, really, truly does. And that was the biggest takeaway, is that this does feel like a premium luxury experience. This feels top notch, at least in terms of what Hyundai and Genesis are able to put out. Is this a Rolls Royce? No, but honestly, having driven Rolls Royces, this is barely off. The only thing different about this is that this doesn't have the weight and the presence of a Rolls Royce. This is way more nimble, way more light on its feet, obviously missing half the cylinders, but the build quality, the materials, the overall feeling is pretty much the same. Take a look at when you shut the G80 off. That might seem so small, but it's important to me. Every time I've stopped this car, it plays me a song. I mean, it feels like it wrote me a love song. It's trying to serenade me. Zach, please don't go inside and heat up more chicken nuggets like you did last night. Drive me more. I'm the Genesis G80. But the nuggies are calling, and I must go. I like that. I like that this car kind of pampers you. It makes you feel important in a way that not a whole lot of cars at this price point, surprisingly, will do. It's been fantastic. It's been a lovely chariot around town, and I'm a big, big fan of Genesis. If you haven't watched my GV80 review, please go check that out. It'll be linked at the end of this one. My sentiments were the same. And unfortunately, the big thing, I'm a little sad that this doesn't have the perfume that the GV80 had. The GV80 actually had a perfume dispenser in the dash, and it would give you a scent. That's not found here. That's okay. I can live without it, but something to note. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Genesis for loaning me this vehicle for the last 7 days. Huge thank you to Drive Shop for facilitating the cleaning and delivery of this vehicle. And of course, the Midwestern Automotive Media Association. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.